The alarming reality of livestock extinction is stark. One breed goes extinct every month. This statistic is not a mere assumption. It's a fact reported by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. Approximately 17% of all farm animal breeds, around 1,500, are at risk of disappearing entirely. Consider this sobering fact. Just 3 pig breeds now produce 75% of all American pork. Similarly, 4 sheep breeds account for over 60% of the national flock, and a single dairy cow breed, the Holstein, dominates with about 90% of dairy cattle. The agricultural system that feeds us is precariously balanced on a genetic razor's edge. Subscribe and comment for more nature videos. The breeds that could save it are the ones with unique traits, disease resistance, foraging instincts, and specialized fat metabolism pathways that took centuries to evolve. Yet these breeds are often the first to be overlooked or allowed to die out. This text seeks to illuminate 7 medieval breeds that modern agriculture tends to disregard, emphasizing why forgetting them could have dire consequences for our food systems and genetic diversity. Imagine stepping into an English oak forest in the year 1200. The ground is carpeted with acorns, and dozens of long-nosed, reddish-gold pigs roam freely, foraging for food. This scene exemplifies pannage, an ancient rite that was so crucial to medieval society that the Domesday Book of 1086 assessed the value of woodland not by its timber, but by how many pigs it could sustain. The Tamworth Pig, a direct descendant of these medieval forest swine, is the oldest pure English pig breed still in existence. Characterized by its long head, powerful snout, and athletic frame, the Tamworth was designed for foraging in the wild. These pigs fed themselves on acorns, beech mast, roots, and whatever else the forest floor offered, rendering the farmer's role largely unnecessary during the warmer months. However, after World War II, the British government decided that only 3 fast-growing breeds, the large white, the landrace, and the Welsh, should form the backbone of the modern pig industry. Other breeds, including the Tamworth, were deemed obsolete due to their slower growth rates and inability to thrive in confinement. Today, the Tamworth is classified as threatened, with fewer than 1,000 annual registrations in the United States and fewer than 5,000 worldwide. What has been lost? A pig that could sustain itself for 6 months of the year, whose meat offers a depth of flavor that commercial pork cannot match. The modern farming model raises a critical question. Why pay to feed an animal that can feed itself? The flavor of Tamworth pork is often described as rich and complex, a result of the pig's natural foraging habits. Unlike commercially raised pigs, which are typically fed a diet high in grains, the Tamworth's varied diet contributes to a depth of flavor that many chefs and culinary enthusiasts prize. This unique taste can be attributed to the pig's active lifestyle and its natural diet, which includes acorns, roots, and wild plants, leading to a marbling in the meat that is both flavorful and tender. Off the western coast of Scotland lies Soay Island, a rocky, windswept refuge for a breed of small brown sheep that has survived without human intervention for around 4,000 years. The Soay Sheep are not just a medieval breed. They trace their lineage back to the Bronze Age and have remained physically similar to their wild ancestors. While other sheep breeds in Europe were crossbred and selected for wool weight and meat production, the Soay Sheep have thrived in their isolation. They naturally shed their wool every spring, a process known as ruing, and are resistant to foot rot. These sheep rarely require veterinary care and have survived harsh winters and complete isolation longer than any other breed on Earth. A flock of Soay sheep was transferred to the neighboring island of Herda in the early 1930s after human evacuation. Today, their population fluctuates between 1,000 and 2,000 animals, all without human management. Scientists from Cambridge and the University of Edinburgh have studied this flock since 1985, making it one of the most significant long-term ecological studies globally. The research focuses on natural selection, parasite resistance, and population dynamics, offering insights that cannot be obtained from managed breeds. The Soay sheep's ability to thrive in harsh conditions provides valuable lessons for sustainable farming practices. Unlike modern sheep breeds that require extensive management, including shearing, parasite treatment, and supplemental feeding, the Soay can survive on rough terrain and minimal care. This resilience makes them an ideal candidate for sustainable agriculture in changing climates. In the 1500s, Spanish explorers dropped pigs on Ossabaw Island off the coast of Georgia and then left them to fend for themselves. Over the next 500 years, these pigs developed a unique adaptation, a thrifty gene that allows them to store 30% to 40% of their body weight as fat during the abundant autumn months, enabling them to survive on those reserves during leaner seasons. This adaptation results in a distinct fat composition that sets the Ossabaw apart from commercial breeds. The dark, richly marbled meat has a flavor profile comparable to jamón ibérico, Spain's celebrated cured ham. DNA studies confirm that the Ossabaw is a genetically distinct breed, unrelated to any others tested. Listed as critical on the Livestock Conservancy's conservation priority list, the Ossabaw has fewer than 200 annual registrations in the United States. While commercial pigs reach market weight in under 6 months, Ossabaw pigs take longer to mature but produce meat that is flavorful and complex, showcasing what can be achieved through natural adaptation rather than intensive breeding. The Ossabaw's unique fat composition also contributes to its culinary value, as chefs discover that the meat offers a depth of flavor that is increasingly rare in the modern food supply. As consumers become more aware of sustainable practices, the Ossabaw hog represents a model of how traditional breeds can be integrated into contemporary culinary scenes. British folklore claims that the black spots on a Gloucestershire Old Spots pig are bruises from apples falling on its back. While this is a myth, the breed's deep-rooted connection to England's orchards is very real. For centuries, the Gloucestershire Old Spots served as the cottage pig, efficiently converting windfall fruit, whey from cheese-making, and kitchen scraps into pork. The breed was first mentioned in English literature around 1790 and gained formal recognition with its own herd book by 1913, making it the oldest pedigreed spotted pig breed in the world. Unfortunately, post-war industrial farming led to the near extinction of the breed by 1977, as fast-growing breeds became the norm. Today, the Gloucestershire Old Spots are listed as critical by the Livestock Conservancy, with fewer than 200 registered annually in the United States and fewer than 2,000 worldwide. Medieval farmers understood that the most efficient animals convert waste into food, while modern systems often overlook this principle. The Gloucestershire Old Spots exemplify how livestock can be integrated into a closed-loop system where food waste is recycled efficiently. This model not only reduces the need for commercial feed, but also minimizes environmental impact. As more consumers seek sustainable options, the Gloucestershire Old Spots offer a compelling alternative to conventional pig farming practices. In the 1700s, Robert Bakewell revolutionized livestock breeding by applying selective techniques to sheep for the first time. His subject was the coarse, slow-growing English Longwool sheep, which he transformed into the Leicester Longwool, a breed that significantly impacted global agriculture. By 1837, the Leicester Longwool had spread across the United Kingdom, Europe, and the Americas. Even George Washington was interested in importing Leicester Longwool rams for his flock at Mount Vernon. Unfortunately, the breed faced decline after 1900 due to the rise of cheap synthetic fibers and industrial wool processing. By the 1930s, the Leicester Longwool was likely extinct in the United States. However, in 1990, the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation imported the breed from Australia, re-establishing it in North America. Today, it is classified as endangered, with fewer than 500 registered breeding females remaining in the UK. The Leicester Longwool's fleece is not just a commodity. It represents a legacy of craftsmanship and quality that modern synthetic materials cannot replicate. For hand spinners and artisan textile workers, this wool is irreplaceable, embodying the rich history of agricultural innovation. In the 1200s, a stone wall was erected around a park at Chillingham Castle in Northumberland, England, enclosing a herd of cattle. For the next 7 centuries, these cattle lived with minimal human interference. The Chillingham wild cattle are not a managed breed. They survive without human feeding, shelter, or breeding. With approximately 130 animals remaining today, these cattle are a unique genetic population. DNA analysis has shown that they possess virtually zero genetic diversity, making them more genetically uniform than any other cattle population on record. Despite this inbreeding, the herd has survived harsh winters and a near-extinction event in 1947. The Chillingham herd represents an extraordinary case study for understanding genetic resilience and natural selection. Researchers are studying how this isolated population has maintained its viability despite limited genetic diversity. Unlike modern dairy cattle, which are bred for maximum output, Chillingham cattle live on their terms, adhering to ancient practices that have remained unchanged for centuries. The lessons learned from the Chillingham herd can inform modern farming practices, offering insights into sustainability and the importance of genetic diversity in livestock populations. The large black pig's origins trace back to the Old English hog of the 1500s and 1600s. By the late 1800s, breeders merged local populations into a recognized breed. In 1899, the Large Black Pig Society published its first herd book, and by 1919, it was the supreme champion at the prestigious Smithfield Livestock Show. However, after World War II, the British government recommended 3 breeds for intensive production, effectively sidelining the large black due to its preference for outdoor grazing and foraging. By the 1960s, the breed was almost extinct, and today it is classified as vulnerable, with only 200 to 300 breeding females in Britain. The large black is unique for its ability to graze like a ruminant, obtaining a significant portion of its diet from grass. In a world increasingly concerned about the environmental impact of grain-fed livestock, the large black represents a sustainable model of pig farming. By utilizing pasture and foraging, the large black reduces the reliance on grain, which is often associated with deforestation and soil degradation. This breed embodies a more sustainable approach to livestock farming, one that aligns with modern values surrounding environmental stewardship. Each of these breeds was marginalized for similar reasons, not because they were inferior, but because they were inconvenient. The Tamworth was too slow growing, the Soay too small, the Ossabaw too fatty, and so on. These traits were not failures. They were adaptations to specific environments and farming practices that prevailed for centuries. Medieval farmers didn't breed animals for maximum output in a controlled environment. They bred animals that could thrive in the real world. The current food system, heavily reliant on just a few breeds, is a recipe for disaster. A disease targeting one of the dominant pig breeds could wipe out 75% of the pork supply, while a parasite could devastate the majority of the national sheep flock. The genetics inherent in breeds like the Tamworth and Ossabaw are not mere nostalgia. They are vital biological insurance policies. They hold disease resistance traits honed over centuries of natural selection and fat metabolism pathways that modern laboratories have yet to replicate. You have several options to help preserve these invaluable breeds. Buy heritage breed meat. Seek out farmers who raise Tamworths, large blacks, Gloucestershire, Old Spots, and other heritage breeds. These farmers often struggle to stay viable because the market is unaware of their products. The difference in flavor between a heritage pork chop and a supermarket variety is striking. Raise heritage breeds. If you have the land, consider raising these breeds yourself. For example, a pair of Gloucestershire Old Spots can thrive on a small plot using orchard scraps and garden waste. Dexter cattle, a small Irish heritage breed, can provide beef, milk, and draft power while requiring far less space than modern breeds. Educate yourself and others. Learn about the breeds that are at risk. The Livestock Conservancy publishes a conservation priority list annually, documenting over 180 endangered breeds. Since its inception nearly 4 decades ago, not a single breed on their list has gone extinct, thanks to awareness and action from the public. The medieval farmer, with his forest pigs, cliff sheep, and orchard hogs, wasn't primitive. He managed a food system that sustained Europe for a millennium without eroding its genetic foundation. In contrast, modern agriculture has narrowed its focus to just a few breeds, creating a fragile system that is increasingly vulnerable. As we face pressing challenges in food security and environmental sustainability, we must recognize the value of genetic diversity in livestock. By embracing heritage breeds, we can not only preserve our agricultural history, but also build a more resilient and sustainable future. The conversation surrounding livestock breeds is not just about nostalgia, it's about the future of our food systems. As we confront challenges such as climate change, disease outbreaks, and resource scarcity, the genetic diversity inherent in these heritage breeds may hold the key to a more resilient agricultural landscape. Encouraging biodiversity in livestock can lead to healthier ecosystems, more sustainable farming practices, and a richer culinary heritage. By making informed choices, supporting local farmers, and advocating for the preservation of these breeds, we can ensure a more sustainable and flavorful food future.